This is my week 3 commemorative speech. Here's my papers. I don't want my thoughts to die with me. I want to have done something. I'm not interested in power or piles of money. I want to leave something behind. I want to make a positive contribution and know that my life has meaning. These are the words of Dr. Temple Grandin. She is a professor of animal science at the Colorado State University, and she is also autistic. She is also a world-renowned author on the subject of autism, and she's an outspoken advocate for their rights. All of her life, she was called weird, bullied, and treated different because of her autism. She found solace in her interest in animals, and she had a science teacher when she was in the 5th grade who mentored her through school and gave her that love of science, and that love of science led to her getting a degree in animal sciences. It also gave her her voice, a way to deal with her autism. As an adult, she was re-diagnosed or given a revisioned version of her diagnosis. And that revision of her diagnosis changed her stance amongst the community of autistic people. It changed the community completely because she is such an outspoken advocate. It gave adults and children better diagnosis of their conditions. There are so many conditions that fall under the umbrella of autism. And children with conditions such as mild retardation, even ADHD, are oftentimes labeled as autistic, and they're not taught properly, nor are they nurtured properly. Dr. Grandin wished to change that. After her revised diagnosis, her main goal became for people to see that rigid academic and social expectations could do more harm for these children than good. In her own words, she says one of the problems today is for a kid to get any special services in school. They have to have a label to get these services. The problem with autism is you've got a spectrum that ranges from being Einstein to someone with no language or intellectual disability. These children can either be vocal and seem normal to you and I, to completely quiet and never make a sound. Her speeches and work on autism is helping to educate people about the condition, and it helps parents to understand their child better. With a parent understanding the child better, this helps the parent become an advocate for the child in the educational system, which then that will help the educational system to teach the child better, to give these kids a fighting chance. I applaud her work on autism. As a parent of a young adult son with autism, my son is high functioning. That's what he's considered as. But even with that, he went through many difficulties in school. They didn't understand him. They labeled him as difficult. They labeled him as different. And because of that, he was isolated and he fell behind. So to keep this from happening to him and prevent it, I withdrew him from school and I homeschooled him. After listening to Dr. Grandin's speeches, I took my son from the schools and I self-taught him. But I let him learn in his own way, in his own time. I let him learn like Dr. Temple Grandin said that he should learn, without labels. And because of that, he has excelled beyond whatever these schools were going to do for him. His mind is fascinating and he is brilliant and funny, just like Dr. Grandin. And I applaud her work.